Hi, today in lecture 3, we will discuss about the problems on stress, strain and elongation and elastic constants. Problems on stress, strain and elongation. So you can see this problem. A rod 150 centimeter long and of diameter 2 centimeter is subjected to an axial pull of 20 kilonewton. So axial pulling load of 20 kilonewton. If the modulus of elasticity of the material of the rod is 2 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square, determine the stress, strain and elongation of the rod. So they are asking the stress, strain and elongation of the rod. The given data are length of the rod given, that is L is equal to 150 centimeter, and diameter of the rod capital D given, that is 2 centimeter. So you can convert that into mm. 2 centimeter is equal to 20 mm, and area of the rod A is equal to, so diameter given, therefore it is a circular rod, therefore the area of the circular rod will be pi d square by 4 or pi r square. So pi into d square, diameter 20 square divided by 4. So you will get area 314.15 mm square. At axial load given, P is equal to 20 kilonewton. You convert that into Newton. So generally we can write down the stress and all value under Newton per mm square. So load in terms of Newton you convert. So 20 kilonewton they given. So 20,000, 20 into 10 power 3, kilo means 10 power 3, 20 into 10 power 3, 20,000 Newton. And modulus of elasticity, which is nothing but Young's modulus given, E is equal to 2 into 10 power 5 Newton per mm square. These are all the data they given. They asked you to find out the stress value sigma and strain value E and elongation value delta L. So sigma, E, delta L they are asking. So you know what is the formula to find out the stress? Stress is nothing but load by area. So load value given in the problem 20,000 divided by area you worked out 314.15. So the stress will be 63.66 Newton per mm square. And strain value, you need to find out strain value. You know the Young's modulus is equal to stress by strain. Therefore strain is equal to stress by Young's modulus. So stress value you know. Young's modulus given in the problem, if you substitute, you will get the strain value. And elongation delta L. So you know, strain will be is equal to change in dimension by original dimension, change in length by original length. Therefore, here change in length is nothing but elongation. So change in length will be is equal to strain into original length. So strain value, you know, and length, you know. So if you substitute, you will get the delta L value. Here substituted 150 centimeter length. So answer also in terms of centimeter. If you substitute here mm, you will get the answer in terms of mm. And next you can see the next problem. Find the minimum diameter of steel wire which is used to raise a load of 4000 Newton if the stress in the rod is not to exceed 95 meganewton per meter square, right? So the given data is load 4000 Newton and stress value given, permissible stress sigma given, that is 95 meganewton per meter square. It means 95 into 10 power 6 Newton per meter square. So 1 mega means 10 power 6. So 10 power 6 Newton per meter square is equal to 1 Newton per mm square, right? So if you want to convert Newton per meter square to Newton per mm square, so 95 into 10 power 6 divided by mm square, if you introduce, you can put 10 power 6 mm square. So 10 power 6, 10 power 6 cancel. So you will get the 95 Newton per mm square. And stress sigma is equal to load divided by area. So stress value, you know, load value, you know, area is nothing but pi d square by 4. In that, the unknown value asked is diameter. So you are able to find out by using this relation. Next, the elongation. The strain is equal to delta L by L. So delta L equal to strain into L, that we know. So another formula to elongation, that is change in length, will be derived from this relation. Stress is equal to, see, Young's modulus is equal to stress by strain. Therefore, stress is equal to Young's modulus into strain. So the strain will be is equal to stress by Young's modulus, right? So here the stress is nothing but load by area, P by A into this capital Young's modulus. So strain equal to P by AE, right? So strain is nothing but P by AE. So here strain is nothing but delta L by L, change in length by original length. So delta L by L, which is equal to P by AE. So here delta L will be equal to PL by AE. This L will go here. So delta L is equal to PL by AE. So the another formula to find out delta L is equal to PL by AE. So one formula is delta strain is equal to delta L by L. Therefore delta L is equal to strain into L. And another formula delta L is equal to PL by AE. So now you can see this problem. A uniform steel rod 6 mm diameter and 0.5 meter long is subjected to a tensile force of 3 kN. Find the stress in the bar and its elongation E is equal to 200 gigapascal given. So they are asking you to find out the stress and elongation value. The given data are diameter given 6 mm, length given 0.5 meters, so 500 mm, and load, tensile load given P 3 kilonewton, 3000 Newton, and Young's modulus E given 200 gigapascal. So 200 into 10 power 3 megapascal. So giga means 10 power 9. So 10 power 3 into mega, 10 power 6 mega. So 10 power 6, 10 power 3, 10 power 9 giga. So area of the cross section you have to find out. So area equal to pi d square by 4, diameter given. So you are able to find out. And stress sigma value load by area. So load value given and area value you know. So you are able to find out stress value. And elongation, change in length is nothing but elongation, which is PL by AE. So load, you know, length, you know, area, you know, Young's modulus, you know. If you substitute, you will get the delta L elongation or change in length value. And next you can see this problem. The ultimate stress for a hollow steel column which carries an axial load of 1.9 meganewton is 480 Newton per mm square. So the ultimate stress value given us 480 Newton per mm square and axial load given us 1.9 meganewton. If the external diameter of the column is 200 mm, determine the internal diameter. It means the given external diameter, internal diameter. It means it's the hollow circular. So take the factor of safety as 4. So ultimate stress given 480 Newton per mm square. Axial load given P is equal to 1.9 meganewton. Therefore 1.9 and 10 power 6 Newton. And the external diameter D given 200 mm. Factor of safety 4 given. So let D be the internal diameter in mm. So area of the cross section of the column A is equal to pi by 4 into capital D square minus small d square. Therefore, pi by 4 into capital D given 200 square minus small d not given, that we have to find out. So factor of safety will be is equal to ultimate stress divided by working stress or permissible stress. So the working stress will be is equal to ultimate stress divided by factor of safety. So here you can see the sigma stress value. Stress is equal to what? Ultimate stress divided by factor of safety. Working stress sigma is equal to ultimate stress divided by factor of safety. So ultimate stress value given in the problem, that is 480 Newton per mm square, divided by factor of safety given in the problem, that is 4. So 480 divided by 4, you will get 120 Newton per mm square, that is working stress. So working stress is equal to load by area. The working stress 120 you found now, load given in the problem. So area pi by 4 into d square minus small d square. So here the unknown value is small d, internal diameter, that asked in the question. So you can be able to find out the answer. Now you can see this problem. A stepped bar shown in figure 1 is subjected to an axially applied compressive load of 35 kilonewton. Find the maximum and minimum stresses produced. So axial load P given 35 to 10 power 3 Newton. So diameter, if you see this figure, the diameter of the upper part, so this part D1 2 centimeter given, therefore 20 mm. Diameter of the lower part D2 3 centimeter given, therefore 30 mm D2. So they asked you to find out the maximum and minimum stress. So stress is equal to load by area. So if the area is less, the stress will be maximum. If the area is minimum, the stress will be maximum. If the area is maximum, the stress will be minimum, right? So here area of the upper part is pi d1 square by 4, therefore pi into 20 square by 4. So you will get the minimum area. So area of the lower part A2 is pi into 30 square by 4, you will get the maximum area. So for this minimum area, you will get the maximum stress. For this maximum area, you will get the minimum stress, right? So the maximum stress will be load divided by A1. So 35 load into 10 power 3 divided by A1. So you will get the maximum stress. Minimum stress load divided by A2. So you will get the minimum stress 49 and maximum stress 311 Newton per mm square. Okay. Now we will see what is Hooke's law. This Hooke's law states that when a material is loaded within the elastic limit, the stress is directly proportional to the strain, right? The stress will be directly proportional to the strain within the elastic limit. That is Hooke's law. So the stress directly proportional to strain. So if you want to equate this, stress by strain will be is equal to constant. That constant is known as the elastic constant. The unit of the elastic constant is same as that of stress. Why? Because the constant is stress by strain. For the strain, there is no unit. Therefore, the elastic constant unit will be is equal to stress unit. Elastic moduli are elastic constants. So what is the elastic moduli or the elastic constant? The ratio of the compressive or tensile stress to the corresponding strain is constant. This constant is known as the elastic constant or elastic moduli, right? This elastic constant are categorized as three categories. One is Young's modulus, next one is bulk modulus, another one is modulus of rigidity. This Young's modulus is with respect to longitudinal and the bulk modulus is with respect to the volume and the modulus of rigidity is with respect to the shear. Okay. Now we can see what is Young's modulus. So it is a ratio of the longitudinal stress to the longitudinal strain. It is also defined as the stress intensity required by the body to produce the strain, stress by strain. It is a measure of the stiffness of the material. It is also the ratio of the normal or direct stress to the normal or direct strain. So normal stress is also called as direct stress. Normal strain is also called as direct strain. So Young's modulus is equal to stress by strain. Okay, normal stress by normal strain, and unit Newton per meter square. This Newton per meter square is nothing but Pascal or megapascal or gigapascal. So as we said, ratio of the longitudinal stress to the longitudinal strain is called Young's modulus. So the longitudinal stress load by area, longitudinal strain delta L by L, therefore PL divided by A into delta L. Okay, the unit and Young's modulus is 0 for the liquid or gas, as do not have any length. For the liquid or gas and all, there is no length. But the Young's modulus is with respect to the length, longitudinal stress by longitudinal strain. Therefore, the Young's modulus for liquid and gas are 0. And the Young's modulus also 0 for the perfectly rigid or plastic body. Since there is no elasticity, this Young's modulus is the modulus of elasticity. So for perfectly rigid body or perfectly plastic body, the Young's modulus value will be 0. The materials, mild steel, the Young's modulus value 210 gigapascal, copper 120 gigapascal, bone 18 gigapascal, plastic 2 gigapascal, rubber 0.02 gigapascal. And bulk modulus, bulk stress sigma is directly proportional to the volumetric strain. So the sigma is equating to the strain by introducing the constant is known as bulk modulus, capital K. The ratio of the direct stress to the volumetric strain is known as bulk modulus. The direct stress sigma divided by volumetric strain is nothing but delta V by V. So the ratio of the direct stress to the volumetric strain is called as bulk modulus K. So the 1 by K will be is equal to compressibility. And when you are considering the whole body, the force is acting all the side. So the volume of the body get reduced. So change in volume divided by original volume. Okay. So yeah, the K is the property for solid, liquid, gas, and K is maximum for the solid and less for the liquid and very least for the gases, right? And rigidity modulus or modulus of rigidity or shear modulus. The another name of rigidity modulus is modulus of rigidity or shear modulus. It can be denoted as G or C or N. So it is the ratio of the shear stress to the shear strain. So shear modulus with respect to the shear, therefore it is the ratio of the shear stress to the shear strain, right? So shear stress tau, shear strain phi, the unit is Newton per meter square or Pascal. So G is property is only for the solid. So when the load is acting parallel to the surface, it will displaced like this. So this strain, this transverse displacement divided by the original length is called the shear strain. This shear strain. So the shear stress divided by shear strain will be equal to modulus of rigidity. Poisson's ratio, it is the ratio of the lateral strain to the longitudinal strain. It is denoted as mu. The mu is also calculated by 1 by m, where m is equal to modular ratio. Modular ratio is nothing but the ratio of the Young's modulus of the material 1 to the Young's modulus of the material 2. So within elastic limit, the ratio of the lateral strain to the longitudinal strain is called the Poisson ratio. And the Poisson ratio 1 by m is equal to lateral strain by longitudinal strain. The lateral strain means strain in the lateral dimension, like this diameter, lateral strain. Okay, when it is compressed, you will get the diameter reduced. So change in diameter by original. So longitudinal strain means change in length by original length, longitudinal direction. So lateral strain by longitudinal strain is Poisson ratio. It has no unit and dimension. Only solid possesses Poisson ratio, and for most of the solid it lies between 0.25 to the 0.33. And these are all the relationship between the Young's modulus, rigidity modulus, bulk modulus, and Poisson ratio. The relation between Young's modulus and modulus of rigidity, C or G or N, is E equal to 2C into 1 plus mu. So 2C into 1 plus mu is nothing but 1 by m. And E equal to 3K into 1 minus 2 mu, 3K into 1 minus 2 into 1 by m. And E equal to 9 kg divided by 3K plus G. And mu equal to 3K minus 2G divided by 6K plus 2G. So the derivation of these relations we can discuss in another lecture. And some of the important definitions, working stress is nothing but the ratio of ultimate stress divided by factor of safety. So working stress is nothing but the permissible stress, allowable stress. This allowable working or permissible stress will be is equal to ultimate stress divided by factor of safety. Generally in the design, we should not consider ultimate stress. Why? Because in previous lecture also we discussed. So after ultimate stress once reach, after that if you apply the load, it can failure, the material or the structure will failure. So you always consider not ultimate stress, you always consider the permissible, allowable working stress. So working stress will be the ultimate stress divided by some factor of safety. Safety purpose, you can introduce some factor and reduce the ultimate stress value. Suppose 500 is there. If you Well, divided by 2, if you put factor of safety, it will become 250. So 250, instead of considering 500 Newton per mm square, you can consider only 250 Newton per mm square. This material have the stress like that. Then if it is beyond that stress 250 also, the material can save. So that is the meaning. Factor of safety, it is the ratio of the ultimate stress to the working or permissible stress. And we can see what is pure shear. So it means there is no normal stress induced or applied. Okay, that is all the stresses are zero except the shear. So for example, you can see soft subjected to pure torsion. So this soft is subjected to the torsion, twisting force. Here in this clockwise direction, this opposite anticlockwise. So because of the twisting, okay, there will be a tangential stress developed. So as we can see that there is no normal stresses are induced in this. So normal stress means what? Suppose this is the plane. In this plane, perpendicular load, if it is acting normal load, perpendicular load, then you will get the normal stress. Here there is no normal stress, only parallel force, therefore tangential force. Therefore you will get only shear stress. Okay, only shear stress without any normal stress induced in the body, then it is called pure shear. And you can see what is complementary shear stress. So whenever a shear stress tau is applied on parallel surface of the body, this tau is applied the parallel surface of the body, then to keep the body in equilibrium, a shear stress tau dash is induced on remaining surface of the body. So in this surface tau, so to keep equilibrium in the remaining surface, the tau dash is induced. So these stresses form a couple. The couple formed due to the shear stress tau produces the clockwise movement. So for this equilibrium, this couple is balanced by the couple developed by the tau dash. So this, because of this couple tau, the tau dash is developed to balance that couple. So the resisting shear stress tau dash is known as the complementary shear stress. So in this body, tau is acting parallelly. So to counteract this, tau dash shear stress is so like in when we discussed about the sigma normal stress. So when the load is applied on the material, the resisting stress force is developed, okay, against that normal load, that is called stress. Similarly here shear stress. So here instead of normal load, parallel load. So this parallel shear stress tau, to resist that parallel shear stress, tau dash is acting. So this is known as complementary shear stress. So I hope you understand. Thank you for listening.